Hi there, my name's Tani and I'm Australia's leading low-carb registered dietitian and body transformation specialist. Today's blog is based around the controversial topic of whether or not low-carb diets are detrimental to our short and or long-term health, including our physical and psychological well-being. This question continues to prove it is of a contentious subject with the many false claims surrounding the diet. I'm here to tell you as your health professional that low-carb diets approved by registered dietitians are more than advantageous to our bodies for both short and long-term periods when the approved diet is consumed in the correct allocated manner. First of all, before one begins their low-carb diet, it is of utmost importance they understand what a low-carb diet is and how it works. A low-carb diet is when we limit or drastically cut carbs from our daily food group consumption. Foods high in carbs include bread, pasta, sugary soft drinks, starchy vegetables or fruits, and simply put, anything high in sugar or with a refined or processed ingredient count. There are varying types of low-carb or sugar-free diets, all of which have different restrictions on the types and amounts of carbs that can be consumed. Basically, I break down the low-carb diet into two categories, for losing weight and for weight management, and both being for overall health and well-being. Low-carb diets for losing weight typically means a higher protein and lean healthy fats intake whilst consuming very limited carbohydrate count. For example, a total intake of 50 grams or lower of carbs per day. This diet should be less restrictive once the individual has lost a desired amount of fat and can then go on a weight maintenance meal plan, which is generally similar, however allows for a higher starch consumption of natural unprocessed foods such as vegetables, legumes and fruits. Now that you understand what it is, we can move on to how it works. Our body's main and preferred source of energy or fuel is carbohydrates. It then proceeds to break down fat, then protein, and lastly, our stored fat. The body has to work harder to break down protein and fats compared to carbs as a fuel source, and therefore, when we substitute carbs for a lean, unprocessed natural protein and fats, our body's metabolic rate is fastened. When 50 grams of carbs or less is consumed per day, our bodies go into a safe metabolic state called ketosis, in which we begin to burn our stored fat for energy, and thus the stored fat becomes our primary fuel source, resulting typically in a loss of weight. As some of you may be aware of, there are many allegations surrounding the health benefits of a low-carb diet. I'm going to take you through a few of the common ones that may be confusing or persuading you into their falsifications. Low-carb diets lead to vital nutrient deficiencies. This is completely inaccurate. In fact, it is almost the opposite of the truth, as a typical Western diet can assuredly lead to diminution in the body's process of nutrient absorption. For example, grains are very high in a substance called phytic acid, which hinders absorption of iron, zinc, and calcium from the diet. The low-carb diet delivers all vital nutrients through natural and unprocessed foods that the human race has been living off for centuries. Low-carb diets are hard to stick to. I often hear this accusation that eliminating entire food groups can be impossible to sustain. As it is, such an extreme change to some people's habitual diet. This point is fair, as this can lead to a feeling of deprivation. However, with all diets and health maintenance programs, you have to have self-control and restrictions. I live by the low-carb diets like many others, and after a time it becomes habitual. So it all comes down to how much you want or desire your improved health and fitness, because if I can do it, so can you. Low-carb diets are high in saturated fat and therefore dangerous. On a low-carb diet, we are more likely to eat foods that are dense with saturated fat and cholesterol, such as eggs and red meat, which is claimed to cause all sorts of problems and raise your risk of heart disease. A certified study from the American Society of Nutrition in 2010 looked at 21 subsequent studies that were comprised of a total of 347,747 subjects. The results being there is unmistakably no connection between saturated fat and heart disease. I still advise everything should be eaten in allocated portions of a professional approved low-carb diet to maintain health and weight. Low-carb diets are not safe as a long-term diet. This is not true. Low-carb diets have been studied intensively for the last 15 years and have had no detrimental effects, only positive effects in regards to health and weight loss or maintenance. Studies have proved people on a low-carb diet are in excellent health. Now we have the myths out of the way, I can tell you all about the truths and benefits brought to you through a low-carb diet. Firstly, low-carb diets absolutely live up to their reputation for producing fast weight loss without the hunger pains or the need to count calories. Because a low-carb diet is high in protein and fats, this makes us feel fuller for a longer time compared to all the other fad diets like the low-fat diet. Next, a low-carb diet reduces blood sugar and insulin levels and lowers the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. It is a lifestyle choice that is a great way to control and prevent many obesity-related diseases. As proven earlier, low-carb diets do not raise your risk of heart disease and as a matter of fact does just the opposite. A diet high in processed and refined carbs and sugar actually contribute to free radical damage and feeds cancer cells, potentially aiding them to diversify at a faster rate. Low-carb diets lower weight and improve metabolic syndrome risk factors. Metabolic syndrome is a collection of symptoms including abdominal obesity, elevated blood pressure, elevated fasting blood sugar levels, high triglycerides, and low HDL levels. These symptoms are dramatically improved as a healthy low-carb diet significantly increases good high-density lipoprotein cholesterol and decreases triglycerides. Sugar is addictive and has dramatic effects on the brain such as increasing cravings, fatigue, and anxiety. Low-carb diets, on the other hand, offer important brain-supporting molecules through healthy fats and they contribute in regulation of learning, memory, mood, and energy, thus supporting the improvement in our psychological well-being. Here you can see the typical low-carb diet food guide. Keep in mind here that all these foods should be natural, organic when possible, unprocessed, and have a low carb or sugar count. Vegetables such as potatoes and fruits such as bananas or dried fruit are high in carbohydrates. These foods should always be eaten with portion control. Here is a list of foods to avoid: sugar, gluten grains, trans fats, any artificial sweeteners, diet and low-fat products, any foods highly processed. Here I've also offered some healthy snack options for between meals. And here is Atkins Lifestyle Food Guide Pyramid. This food pyramid is certified by the Atkins health professionals and is a fantastic guide to a healthy low-carb diet that contains vital nutrients the body requires for optimal health and function. So there you have it. No low-carb diets are not detrimental to our short and long-term health, however extremely beneficial. To make sure you all leave me now with a fresh and adapted mindset on whether a low-carb diet is for you, here is a recap on the health advantages of a low-carb diet. They are effective. They are effective for weight loss, weight maintenance, improving metabolic syndrome, lowering risk of type 2 diabetes, reducing heart disease risk, better cognitive function, hunger control and better digestion, helping fight against cancer, and overall health and well-being. If you have any further questions, do not hesitate to contact me through an appointment. Thank you.